That council tax is to be frozen was probably a sigh of relief. But what will it mean for the services our local councils provide?
It includes everything from education to rubbish collection. It could be that councils decide to work together. Today in Uttlesford and Harlow, they said they're already looking at ways of doing just that. And in councils across the region, the search is on for ways to survive the cuts.
Council tax, it goes up every year, right? Well, not anymore, and town halls must like it or lump it. In King's Lynn, the council does lots of things. It looks after the parks and gardens, and it runs the town's leisure centre. For years it's been cutting waste behind the scenes to try to keep bills low. Now the government's freezing council tax nationwide for at least a year, it must cut again.
Every council service is under review, as perhaps we share services with other councils, perhaps share services with private contractors, then of course we should be looking to make efficiencies right across the board.
Lynn is one of the few councils still to have a weekly bin collection. That will need to be reviewed. In Corby, the council was planning on a 3% council tax rise in the coming year. Now that won't happen. It faces a funding gap of £100,000. It may have to cut staffing at this advice centre and elsewhere.
Potentially 40 or 50 staff really will be at risk as a consequence of this. We can't avoid some impact on frontline services, and so this is a real dilemma for Corby. This is a real setback for the town.
But on the streets of Corby, no complaints about the council tax freeze.
I think it's a very good idea because I'm a pensioner, so every penny counts.
It will benefit the low-paid families and people that are struggling, yeah.
But taxpayers may end up worse off. If councils can't raise tax, they'll almost certainly have to increase charges for things such as car parking. Richard Bond, BBC Look East.
It's day 2 of the Paralympic World Cup in Manchester, and as usual this region is well represented in everything from swimming to football.
London 2012 is just around the corner, so competitions like this are important stepping stones. Paralympic gold medal winner Danny Crates has been there for Look East.
Yesterday we saw Johnny Peacock set a personal best in the 100 metres on this track. Today we move indoors, a sport that's not for the faint-hearted. Wheelchair basketball. Wheelchair basketball was invented to rehabilitate injured soldiers in the Second World War. It's a tough sport, and they don't come much tougher than the Essex Outlaws star, Caroline Maclean. Caroline is a talisman of the British team. She's been to the last 3 Paralympic Games, and she's dead set on making it 4.
You have to really train hard and keep fit, because I know that, you know, I'm not going to be in the team much longer.
But you're aiming for 1 more Games?
Definitely, yes, I want to make sure I get there.
Caroline first appeared on Look East when she was just 2. A reaction to a polio jab had left her paralysed from the waist down. Who would have thought 32 years on, this little girl from Haverhill in Suffolk would be one of Britain's best wheelchair basketball players? With such a young team, how important is it to have experienced players like Caroline Maclean?
Caroline Maclean is very good. She's bringing the youngsters through. She's been to quite a few Paralympics now, and the youngsters look up to her. And believe it or not, she's loving it off court and on court with them. She gels very well with the youngsters, so it's brilliant for them.
GB managers are trying to develop a young squad, but Caroline's experience is vital. She's not about to give way to youth. She was team captain in Beijing. She's one of the top scorers. She's Macca, the matriarch.
I think it is important. I know we joke about how old I am and how long I've been playing, but I do think that they look up to me maybe a little bit and ask for advice. So it's really good. They're coming on so well, got so much potential.
With 2 years to go to London 2012, she needs to keep fit and keep her eye in. With a World Cup and World Championships this year, it's starting to get serious. Danny Crates, BBC Look East, Manchester.
Great to see those pictures from all those years ago, 1978.
I know, it's great, isn't it? And we're actually going to see some more pictures from a long time ago now, because it was almost 30 years ago that a keen amateur photographer was wandering around Peterborough snapping away.
It's almost seamless, this programme sometimes, isn't it? Some of the people didn't even know they were being photographed, but they do now, because the man with the camera is at it again, recreating his pictures with the original cast.
Life imitating art, art imitating life.
Photographs and memories.
Photography, something of a passion for Chris Porsz, the part-time paparazzi.
It's amazing to see them again, it really is. I'm over the moon with it, to be honest, to find these guys after all these years. The downside is it makes me feel really old. Where has 30 years gone? 3 decades just whizzed by. But yeah, a great day.
Most of his subjects never knew they were caught on camera. Now, with the help of BBC Look East, he's bringing together those he photographed on the streets of Peterborough 30 years ago.
It's good to catch people naturally, and that's certainly what Chris managed to do. But also looking down the street, how things have changed in Peterborough and Bridge Street over the years. Hardly a shop is recognisable now by the name that he carried 30 years ago.
Completely different. I do remember Queensgate going up as well. I watched that go up. Yeah, totally changed, and it's still changing to this day.
At the time I was just in my probation, so first year in policing. I retired last year as a chief superintendent. Or even better, to be given a memory of how things were 30 years ago, talking to the public. And the fact that we're talking, he's not necessarily done anything wrong, that we're just having a conversation is fantastic.
I can only imagine I was riding on the path at the time and getting a ticking off, so it was very frowned upon back then, weren't it?
Another photograph, another life story. Tony and Sally Wilmot snatch a kiss on platform 5. We caught up with them for an earlier reconstruction. Although the street and the lives of David and Tim might have changed for the better, the Bobby on the beat is still a familiar sight. Emma Bohr, BBC Look East, Peterborough.
It's a great story, isn't it?
They managed to trace them.
Yeah, it is.
Not sure I'd want to recreate pictures of myself from 30 years ago. Pudding basin,
I bet you look just the same.
I'm not even sure if the weather was any better then either.
Oh, I'm sure of that.
Anyway, here we have it. We've got very few isobars on the chart at the moment, which is why the weather doesn't seem to have changed very much. A low pressure area over France with some rain there. There is this band of blue you can see here over northwest Britain and West Wales. That's a weakish front, and